Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Are Nottingham Forest doomed for relegation in the Premier League this season? Have they been lost in the wilderness, in the forest, you could say, this season under Steve Cooper and in recent weeks? Because I think it's fair to say they're on a pretty horrendous run of form right now. In their last 11 games, they're winless, drawing 3 and losing 8 games. Their last win, of course, came against Leeds on the 5th of February, so over 2 months now since Nottingham Forest have won a game. And yep, in the relegation zone in the Premier League right now, second from bottom, as you can see. And yeah, it's not looking good. 3 points off bottom spot Southampton, 1 point from safety below Everton in 18th and Leicester in 17th. But I think it's less so about where they are in the table, because I think everyone pretty much from 15th, I'd say, down to 20th is in real danger this season of going down. I just think it's the way Forest have been playing and obviously the results they've been getting. And even still, if you look at Nottingham Forest's results in that winless run of 11 games, they haven't really been getting hammered. The only game they really got, trounced in was against West Ham at the London Stadium, which was right at the start of that run, and ever since they've been losing games by 1 or 2 goals. And to be honest, I just think it's a case of they haven't done enough at both ends, which is obvious and sounds obvious, but it's just simply the case with Nottingham Forest, to be fair. And I mean, where do we start with them, right? We'll start off with today's performance against Liverpool, a 3-2 loss, which on the balance of things, you lose 3-2 at Anfield. It's not the worst of results, or not the most embarrassing of results, so to speak, but I think 3-2 slightly flattered Nottingham Forest, given the fact that, as you can see, 81% possession for Liverpool, 2.87 expected goals to 0.82, and Nottingham Forest only with 1 big chance created compared to Liverpool's 5. I think it's been that case for Nottingham Forest for quite some time now. They've created the least amount of big chances in the Premier League this season with 27, only level with Wolves, who themselves haven't created a lot of chances, obviously, but I think Wolves, in terms of the personnel and in terms of the style of play, have been a lot more efficient this season than Nottingham Forest, which obviously shows in the table, given the fact that Wolves are a little bit further safe with 34 points to their name in 13th. But yeah, where's it gone wrong for Nottingham Forest under Steve Cooper? Because I think about it, right? They started off the season okay. I remember they won their first home game this season against West Ham, and then obviously went on a little bit of a poor run, got absolutely hammered by Leicester, who then were bottom of the table, 4-0 at the King Power Stadium. Then it kind of picked up in the middle part of the season. They started picking up points. I think it felt like Steve Cooper had finally relieved the pressure. Obviously, he had at the start of the season. There was rumours at the start of the season, heavy rumours, that Steve Cooper was going to lose his job, and seemed to turn that around. Got some good results in the table. It looked like Nottingham Forest had finally clicked with the sheer amount of signings they made in the summer, and obviously in January as well, with the massive influx of players they've had this season. And it looked like Steve Cooper had finally found a system and finally found his best team that was going to work to keep Nottingham Forest up fairly comfortably, it looked like, in the Premier League this season. But that obviously has gone downhill massively with that 11-game winless run, like I said, and they've been absolutely really poor in those 11 games. And yeah, it does look like, in my opinion, that they will be consigned to Championship football next season, if I'm honest. And look, it's not doom and gloom yet, it's not over yet, because they still do have 6 games left to play. But if we're looking at those 6 games, right, the next game is in midweek at home to Brighton. Brighton, a really good team this season, going to be extremely hard to beat, especially with the way the Zerbi's got them set up. Next game, Brentford away, again going to be a really tough game. We saw Brentford draw today against Aston Villa at the Brentford Community Stadium. They're going to be an extremely hard team to beat for pretty much any team in the league this season, even with the fact they've got not much to play for. Then you've got Southampton at home. That has to be the one that they identify as 3 points. They have no choice but to win that one if they are going to survive, unless they somehow pull off, good results against Brighton and Brentford. Then they've got Chelsea away. Again, you'll notify that one as maybe a chance to nick a draw or even a win, because obviously as a Chelsea fan, it's no secret that I'm well aware how Chelsea have been this season, and we are, on the beach pretty much in the Premier League and have got absolutely nothing to play for, and the confidence is on the ground, so maybe you get a point from that one. But to be honest, I think Chelsea, that will be the one game we do probably win at the end of the season. Then you've got Arsenal at home on the second last day of the season, and to be honest, I know on paper you do not want to be playing Arsenal, especially at that time of the season when more than likely Arsenal will still be in the title race, unless things go absolutely up for Arsenal between now and then, obviously. But I think Forest could have maybe a shock in store in that one, but then again, it is a big if and it is hypothetical, because the likelihood is Arsenal will probably win that one. And then on the final day, if it comes down to that, Crystal Palace away on the final day of this season could be a decent one if they're still in and about, knocking about for safety, because Crystal Palace at that stage, I think it is fair to say that they will be probably on the beach and will be well and truly home and hosed with regards to their safety. So it's not all over yet for Nottingham Forest. I mean, even still, like I said, they're only 1 point from safety. safety, so they're not 100% doomed just yet, but I just think, in my opinion, I did a video on how I think the relegation battle will pan out if you want to go and check out that video, and if you do want to go and check out that video after this one, then pause the video really quickly and go and watch that one really quickly, because I'm going to just spoil who I said will go down, because I still do stand by my decision. I think it will be Southampton, I think it will be Nottingham Forest, and I think it will be Leeds, because, yeah, the reason why I put Nottingham Forest in there is just because I don't really trust them at this moment in time. As you can tell by that stat, they're not creating enough chances this season. I think the mass influx of players this season, I think they've gone a little bit too overboard, and don't get me wrong, I think it's been a lazy argument for people to say they signed too many players and that's the reason they're, you know, performing badly this season. The only reason, because I think that isn't really the case, because I think a lot of people lack context in terms of the fact that Forest had such a thin squad coming into this season, and not only a thin squad, but a squad massively lacking in Premier League quality, and hence why they had to, you know, sign so many players. But I think maybe they've gone a little bit too overboard. They've got an absolutely massive squad where a lot of those players on a weekly basis are going to be obviously disappointed that they're not playing that week, you know, and it's the exact same situation at Chelsea, so I can fully understand where Nottingham Forest would come from that sense. And to be fair, I think it's a case as well where they've been massively over-reliant on Brennan Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White up front, and if you look at the contributors to goals for Nottingham Forest this season, if we look at their top goal scorers, Brennan Johnson currently with 8 goals, they've got a number of strikers in the squad, Awani with only 4 goals, Chris Wood with 3, Emmanuel Dennis with 2, and then if you look at assists as well, right, Morgan Gibbs-White, their top assister in the league this season with 6 assists. Then you have, ironically, Brennan Johnson in second with 2 assists. So I think it's fair to say that Nottingham Forest have been massively over-reliant on those 2 players this season, especially going forward. And to be honest, the majority of attacks and how it goes for Nottingham Forest in possession is a Nottingham Forest player in defence or midfield wins the ball back very deep in the pitch. They give it to someone like Johnson or Gibbs-White, who are then capable of running 40 or 50 yards into the opposing half, and then either 1 or 2 more passes are played in the sequence before Nottingham Forest either get a shot off or they lose the ball and get turned over in the opposition half high up the pitch. And that is shown in the fact that Nottingham Forest, as you can see on screen by this graphic, they are the 5th most direct team in the league this season in terms of the speed of directness, behind Leeds, West Ham, Brentford and Bournemouth, and do average the lowest number of passes per sequence in the league this season with 2.61 passes per sequence averaged, which I think perfectly represents Nottingham Forest's style of play this season under Steve Cooper. And yeah, as I said, haven't been able to create enough chances using that style of play, and yeah, are second from bottom in the Premier League for sequences with more than 10 passes completed within the sequence, and are also bottom of the Premier League in terms of the average sequence time as well, with 6.85 seconds per sequence averaged for Nottingham Forest this season, which shows their vulnerabilities when they have the ball, and yeah, hence why they get massively dominated in possession in pretty much every game. But of course, in the Premier League, nothing is certain, and in football in general, nothing is certain, and Nottingham Forest could surely pull off some shocks to get themselves over that relegation safety line, and who's to say they won't do it, even with the horrendous form they've been on in these last 11 or so games. And it is very much possible, and obviously Nottingham Forest fans will be clinging on to hope more than anything, to be fair, or the fact that they could maybe make a great escape with the mentality that maybe clicks in. But yeah, like I said, Forest fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have I hit the nail on the head with my analysis of your club right now, or am I talking absolute shit? Please do let me know in the comment section below, and of course I will take absolutely little offence to that, because obviously you guys will know your club more than I ever will. And yeah, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy as well, it would be absolutely massively appreciated, and also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would be hugely appreciated. We are looking to hit 3,000 subscribers on this channel as soon as we bloody well possibly can, so every single one of you that hits that big fat juicy succulent subscribe button, you'd be an absolute legend and help me get there as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video, and yeah, chat to you later.